Hi, I'm Binja, and for the next 5 minutes or so, I am going to personally try and convince you why you should sign the petition to declare gender-based violence, femicide, a national disaster in South Africa. I'm going to give you some facts, I'm going to give you some of my opinions, but I'm also going to personally read these from my phone so that I don't get a word wrong. But I want to first describe to you what a national disaster is, so you first of all know what you're signing. A national disaster is a catastrophic event, natural or man-made, that causes widespread damage, loss of life, a significant disruption to a country's infrastructure and economy, often requiring national-level response and recovery rate. So this could be natural or man-made. Now, GBV, or gender-based violence, the femicide, is man-made because men, at most, are the ones inflicting this pain on women. Violence in women's life ranks higher than smoking, obesity, or high blood pressure as a contributor to death, disability, and illness. This means that if you go to a hospital and if you ask perhaps 5 women, why are you here? Chances are they will tell you that at least 2 in every 5, sometimes 3 in 5 women will say that I am here because my husband did this, my partner did this to me. 51% women in South Africa say they've experienced gender-based violence, with 76% of men saying they have perpetrated at one stage in their lives gender-based violence. I did a TikTok video about Nigeria and how high the rates are for women who skin bleach or who use white skin products to lighten their skin. And when I said the stats according to the World Health Organization was 77% of women, people came for me, even in my DMs on TikTok, saying that the numbers were high. Binjai, do you realize that 77% would mean that at least every 3 in 5 women have used skin lightening products? This means that every 3 or 2 in 5 men have admitted to have inflicted pain to a woman, physically, verbally, emotionally, gender-based violence. 76%. Now, the Democratic Alliance, the DA, which is one of the political parties here, they themselves, and I'm saying they themselves because when it comes to politics and gender-based violence and femicide, though it's a social issue, it always sometimes ends up being political. And that's why I need to state this because this is where I got it from. So the Democratic Alliance themselves in 2024 last year sounded the alarm on South Africa's escalating child rape, revealing shocking stats that highlight a systemic failure to protect vulnerable children. Now, what are the correlations between GBV, gender-based violence, and child rape? Well, if he beats my mom, chances are he's going to have higher access to me. Or if he does have access to me, if he does bad things to me, if he's already doing things like that are bad to my mom, chances of him also inflicting the same pain on me, that's what it means. It also means that along with women who are being assaulted, children are also being assaulted. So it's not just women. This femicide or this national disaster is not just going to include women. It's also going to include vulnerable children, particularly from 17 and below. Let's go on. Over 116,000 rape cases and 22,000 sexual assault cases involving children have been reported over the last 6 financial years. This is by the ages of 17 and below. This means that on average, 1,472 child rape cases per month, or roughly 48 rape cases per day. So now imagine you work in a police station and every single day, 48 people come to you saying that my child has been assaulted. 48 people a day. That is a lot. And remember, these are rates that have been captured. Now imagine the population that doesn't go to the police station. In 2019 to 2020, more than 53,000 sexual offenses were reported, an average of 146 a day, up to 52,420 in 2018 and 2019. Most of these cases were rape. On this, police recorded 42,289 rape cases in 2019 to 2020. This figure is up from 41,583 from 2018 to 2019. And this actually mostly came from, if you guys remember properly, COVID-19. There were a lot of gender-based violence cases that were really open in during COVID-19, mainly because they said that the men were at home and the men were frustrated and the men needed punching bags. So the men took it on the women and children. Femicide is 5 times higher in South Africa than the global average. So not Africa, the global average. With South Africa having the 4th highest female interpersonal violence death rate out of the 183 countries listed by the World Health Organization. At the start of level 3 lockdown, 21 women and children were murdered in 2 weeks, leading to the president's cite 2 devastating epidemics: COVID-19 and GBV. Now, what are the impacts of a national disaster, if you want to ask me again? Now, let's go back to this being a national disaster and the impacts of a national disaster. National disasters can result in significant loss of life, just like gender-based violence and the femicide happening in South Africa. Widespread damage to property and infrastructure, economic disruption, long-term social and psychological consequences. The best example for this is the current situation right now where we're facing. A little girl by the name of Twetwe is on the rise, is everywhere, on every newspaper, on every news bulletin, with people protesting, including me, protesting for this to end because she has been the latest victim. She's no less than 10. She's actually very young. She's not less than 10. She's not, I think she's 7, if not 8 years old. But why do we want femicide and GBV to be declared a national disaster? What does this mean for the victims? When a national disaster occurs, governments often declare a state of emergency, mobilizing resources, personnel to provide aid, rescue efforts, and long-term recovery. So I'm talking about these little girls and women and just victims in general who's been through this. It means that they can get more access to services after the unfortunate events that occur to them. It means that we can finally get the sex offenders list released, because it's been promised to us since February. It means that finally the government nationwide, not in some provinces, nationwide get to act. It means that NGOs and other facilities get more funding in order to help victims. It also probably means that more personnel will be employed in police stations to handle more cases, because sometimes people report cases but sometimes things are not taken care of, because when you get to a police station there's only like 2 people and sometimes you get turned away. Imagine reporting such an incident and being turned away saying that there are not enough personnel there.